Celebrating 25 years of joy with you. Good afternoon to you. Welcome to the marketplace with me, Emmanuel Aboagye-Wiafe, bringing to you updates of business making headlines across the globe. In our headlines today, inflation rate for February remains at 7.8%. We'll be telling you more about that development and get views of an economist on it. Also coming up, Ministry of Finance and Multi-Stakeholder Group for Ghana Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative launches Ghana's 2017-2018 Mining and Oil and Gas EITI reports in Accra. Plus, the Asante-Hene Otumfuo II inspects work on construction of Kumasi's second shopping mall, which is nearing completion and is set to open by the end of the year. Details of all these stories, plus more, coming up in a jiffy. Don't go away. Many thanks for your company this afternoon. Welcome back to the marketplace. Deputy Director, International Projects and Partnerships of Hamburg Chamber of Commerce, Michael Kono, has advised prospective foreign investors in Ghana's oil city to start looking at processing factories rather than the extractives. He tells Joy Business that investing in processing factories will speed up the development of the second Takoradi metropolis. Natalia Kwanza has more in this report.
Michael Kono noted that most investors have directed their attention towards the extractive industry for some years now because of the natural resources, but he says he strongly believes to boost the economy of the Western region, there is the need for businesses to form partnership as well as encourage investors to establish more processing factories.
The Western region is really where all the power of Ghana comes from. So all the natural resources come from the Western region. So it's a very rich region, but on the other hand, the power is somehow centralized in Accra. We see a lot of extractive industries, but not too many industry companies actually processing. But if you want to move to the upper level, to a higher development path, processing becomes key.
He made the remarks after handing over the baton to Michelle Beck, Project Director of Hamburg Chamber of Commerce, who has taken the position as Director, Sekondi Takoradi Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Hamburg Chamber of Commerce Partnership Project.
I'm very happy to bring in my experiences I gained within the last 14 years at the chambers in Germany and China. And I think this is my most important input I can deliver to this project, is my experiences working there. I know as a chamber that doesn't have compulsory membership, how important it is to provide services to the members. So of course I can give a lot of advice on how to develop services that attracts companies to become our members, what to take care of it. I have a lot of experiences on how to develop membership services, so I'm hopefully and very looking much forward to it, to bringing my experience on that.
In Natalia Kwanza, reporting for Joy Business.
The rate of inflation recorded between February 2019 and February 2020 stays at 7.8%, which is the same figure recorded for last month. This, the Ghana Statistical Service says, is as a result of the continuous performance of food and non-alcoholic beverages group, which has been the main driving factor with the current inflation. This means the prices of food as well as general goods and services between the period recorded little or no price change. Here is Acting Deputy Statistician David Combat announcing the rate to journalists a while ago.
For the price index is collected from 44 market centers across the country each month, out of which we compute the consumer price index and inflation. The key variables here are prices, quantities, and expenditure weights of the items. The price reference year is 2018, and its index is equated to 100. The consumer price index for February 2020 was 112.1 relative to 111.6 in January 2020. And this translates into a yearly inflation of 7.8%, This means that in the month of February 2020, the general price level was 7.8% higher than what was recorded for the month of February 2019. The month-on-month inflation between February 2020 and January 2020 was 0.4%. Now, the food and non-alcoholic beverages remain the main drivers of inflation. You can see the contributions over the 6 months period that we have. It's in yellow. So you can see the contributions are quite high for food and non-alcoholic beverages. The contribution of housing, i.e., including water, electricity, and gas, went down from 10.2% in January 2020 to 8.5% in February 2020. The food division is the largest contributor to the month-on-month inflation for the month of February, but it's less than what was recorded in January 2020.
All right, so the results indicate that the Greater Accra region continues to record the highest rate of inflation on a monthly basis as compared with the Upper West region with the least rate of inflation at 5%. We want to get some more explanation out of these figures, and we're being joined on the phone lines by economist Courage Marty of Databank to give us some perspectives of the latest figures. Good afternoon, Courage. Welcome to the marketplace. Hello, Courage.
Yes. Hello.
All right, so is it an indication that nothing or the indicators have not changed much as compared with the previous month's inflation figures? Hello, Courage. Can you hear me, Courage? Hello, Courage. Yeah, so I was trying to find out from you if this current development means that the previous inflation rate, the indicators, are not anything different from now. Well, unfortunately, we lost Courage Martin on the phone lines. We'll try and get back to him for some clarity on these latest developments. Now, work on construction of Kumasi's second shopping mall is nearing completion and is set to open by the end of this year. This is the second after the Kumasi City Mall became operational in 2017. The first phase of the $130 million Garden City Mall project is a joint venture between Retail and Realty, the Methodist Church of Ghana, and the Kumasi Traditional Council. The Santehino Otumfuo Setu has visited the site to inspect progress of work so far. Nana Sensu Mensah has more in this report.
Garden City Mall, located on a 14-acre land at the Swami Roundabout, is estimated to create about 1,200 jobs on completion. It is pegged to become the largest retail center in Ghana and expected to transform the traditional market hub of Kumasi with multiple shops, restaurants, and cinema in one scenic location. Otumfuo led a delegation of Kumasi Traditional Council on a tour at the project site.
ISIS nearby, and for example, it affected him. It comes to me crestfallen. So it's too for you, Mr. Martin. And I must say thank you very much for the assurance that you gave me. That no one lose hope now. Why you on why I'm that's Papa.
The second phase of the project will involve construction of a 9-story, 200-bed hotel facility. Chief Executive Officer Alex Brooks expressed appreciation to Otumfuo for his continued support as he assures work will be completed on schedule.
Yes, so I bet that was it for your wisdom, your encouragement, support. Times when I was down, you elevated me, and you know, contractors, consultants, Ubia concert, Ubia have contributed. Moses Honu, even Dr. Nyani, Shibia Minineva, Ata, GCB Bank, Damase. The only bank and I went to my ECOWAS Bank. That's one of the banks that we are working with.
Nana Asensu Mensah, reporting for JoyNews.
This is watching the Marketplace live with me, Emmanuel Aboagye-Wiafe. We're taking a short break here. We'll be right back with more details. Welcome back to the Marketplace. I want to get some explanation and getting back to our earlier story where the Ghana Statistical Service has pegged the latest inflation rate at 7.8%, which is the same rate recorded for the month of January, and reaching live on the phone lines. Economist from Data Bank, Courage Marty. Courage, you're welcome to the Marketplace. Courage, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. So I was trying to find out from you if it indicates that nothing much has changed from the month of January and now.
Well, yes. I think this is a sign that price pressures are being firmly contained, and the fact that over the last 12 months we've had upside risk to inflation being offset by downside risk to inflation, and so there's been a lot of stability. So in a situation where over the last 12 months we've seen increased price pressures, the latter part of the year also, particularly helped by the recent strong performance of the cedi, has helped to also curtail price pressure. So during the course of 12 months, upside and downside movement appears to have evened out. And also because inflation expectations of the markets have also been well anchored. And so price development remains very stable. And then we expect that this should continue as far as the cedi and other indicators remain broadly anchored.
Now, could there be any effect, with the latest development in the health sector, the coronavirus? Is it having any impact on the inflation for the month of February?
Well, so as far as the stability of inflation is concerned, yes, there's some it's like downside impact on inflation or downward pressure on inflation from that side, but you can only trace it for now through the positive impact it's had on currency, because we've noticed a situation where importers' demand for FX has been low, and so it also contributed to the cedi's strong performance, and that has helped stabilize things from that side as far as price pressures or inflation is concerned. However, to the outlook, it could also mean upward pressure to come if our importers cannot get goods in on time to supplement inventories that are being depleted, and that could lead to shortages and then upward pressure on prices. So it could be a double-edged sword if it is not quickly corrected.
Many thanks for your time. Courage Marty is an economist from Data Bank. Moving on, the Ministry of Finance and multi-stakeholder group of the Ghana Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, GHITI, have launched Ghana's 2017-2018 Mining and Oil and Gas EITI reports in Accra. Findings indicate there is a lack of clarity on the relationship between the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, and the Ghana National Gas Corporation, GNGC. Currently, GNPC claims responsibility for GNGC as a subsidiary. However, Ghana Gas does not appear to recognize GNPC as a parent company. Further, GNPC's financial statements do not reflect debts owed by Ghana Gas. This development has raised questions on whether or not government must intervene with some legislation. Let's hear from the Deputy Minister of Finance, Kweku Kwati.
The relationship, I don't think there's a need for any clarity. It is about the institutions working for one state to just sit down and iron out some of the minor differences. I do not think it has been such, they've been such big differences. But issues that have come up recently are quite minor. I think the institutions are capable of addressing these. It is the desire to perform their mandate as fully as they can that leads to what appears sometimes to be overlaps and leads to the disagreement. But I'm quite confident that the leadership of these institutions are able to address these differences and ensure that both working in concert but also working as individual institutions, they can deliver on their mandates for the benefit of the country. Variation in the price will mean that we'll have to make the necessary adjustments in the budget in order to contain the reduction. That is what is immediately contemplatable. But I think we ought to broaden the discussion to cover not just crude oil, but generally as a country what the opportunities are in this epidemic, but also what measures we need to take to ensure that Ghana is impacted minimally in this global epidemic.
Well, let's get in touch via Skype now and speak with energy expert Ishmael Ejokomhini on this latest development. Good afternoon, Ishmael. Welcome to the marketplace.
Good afternoon, Emmanuel.
All right, so my first question is, does Ghana's Petroleum Exploration and Production Law support the current arrangement where GNGC or Ghana Gas is under GNPC?
It's not the law per se. It was a policy decision that was announced first by the then Minister of Finance when he was reading the 2015 budget. He announced that GNGC, that's Ghana Gas, is going to be made a subsidiary of GNPC. The whole idea is to increase the asset base of GNPC and strengthen their books to be able to go into the capital market to get loans, secure loans and things like that. But post that announcement, no concrete steps were taken to ensure the transfer of asset ownership to Ghana GNPC. So it's not a claim being made by GNPC. It's a policy decision that was announced that never got implemented. So yes, they are right to believe that Ghana Gas is a subsidiary, but Ghana Gas never became a subsidiary of GNPC post the announcement that was made by the Minister.
But what is the international best practice here? Do we find, a gas company for the nation also becoming a subsidiary of the national oil company?
Not really. I mean, I've questioned this before. There was a reason why GNPC was in existence, but Ghana chose to set up a dedicated entity to see to the processing of gas and the marketing of gas. But for us to spend money and create an institution called Ghana Gas and then turn around suddenly to say that the upstream company, which is the national oil company, should also be in charge of the gas processing, which is technically midstream and even to some extent downstream. Best practice doesn't really support that. If indeed we are interested in enhancing GNPC's position as an exploration company so that we end up making discoveries and producing our own oil, then I didn't think that it's a best practice to do. But I think they needed to enhance GNPC's asset base to be able to go in and attract certain kind of funding or capital on the capital market. That's what informed the decision. But as a best practice, I think it's a good step.
All right, many thanks for your time. Ishmael Ejokomhini is an energy expert. We're taking a short break here. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the marketplace. And the deadly coronavirus continues to deal deadly blow to various sectors of the economy, notwithstanding the hospitality and the hotel sector, so to speak. And I have with me here Pa John Datson. He's a director in charge of meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibition unit of the Ghana Tourism Authority. We want to find out from him if the latest development is actually having a toll on his sector. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Is it the case?
It is, yes. A number of meetings and conferences have been planned throughout the world, as we all know, including Ghana. And indeed, organizers who often are meeting planners abroad have started cancelling, or they're taking precautions because one never knows when this thing is going to explode into the African market. As it is now, seems the root of the disease is following the trade, the economic route.
Okay.
Because the hub of it, the epicenter of it is from China. And outbound tourists from China into the world is something like 150 million, from about 50 million about 10 years ago. And that's a huge number of people who travel. And that's only about something like 5% of global travel market.
We still don't have much time, but I want to ask this critical question. Looking at the fact that various various conferences and other functions have been cancelled, is there any way we could take as an advantage, because the disease is not actually here so much in Ghana?
It isn't, but unfortunately, half the people who are going to be attending some of these events are also coming from nations and destinations that have been affected. And as you know, people aren't sure whether they should take the plunge and sit in an airline which is enclosed and risk catching it. And so these are the factors that are affecting people making the decision whether to attend a conference abroad, be it in Africa or anywhere else in the world.
I believe we certainly have to exhaust this discussion because we don't have much time now.